Hey, this is Sunshine.
And E.
All right, let's go.
We are hitting on some more Simpsons. YouTube, we're back again with some more Simpsons.
Yeah, some more Simpsons. I mean, they've been around for a while, so you can probably continue to do it. But some of them, I guess what was it that we did? The predictions?
I did predictions.
Then,
and then the making of. Not really the making of. What was it?
Kind of showed how Homer changed a lot. That was one of the last one of the other ones we did where he changed from being just really a little bit more smarter and more family oriented to become kind of like the dummy and crazy guy. So,
and he also his facial. I mean, his character. It went from older to younger.
Right.
Looks like they changed him. Yeah, it went in the reverse. So I don't know.
Yeah, so I mean they make those changes, but
this one is about the moments the Simpsons became the best show on TV.
Ooh, that moment.
Is your favorite show?
Right.
Is your favorite show?
I wouldn't say a favorite show, but I would think it'd be up the top for as far as animated for me. Now, there was one that kind of years ago, there was one, I don't know if you ever heard, I think it's called Wait Till Your Father Gets Home or something. Where I know that
I have no idea.
They sung it.
Where?
I know the song was Wait Till Your Father Gets Home. I don't know if that was the actual name
heard of it.
But I don't think it was long lived, but I think that, that kind of gave the foundations for the Simpsons a little bit. Not that they were related, but I think when they wrote the Simpsons, they had that kind of mind, took the good things from that they thought would work, and kind of created Simpsons in that time frame that the Simpsons came out. So if anybody looked that up, and I know that's the song that they sing, Wait Till Your Father Gets Home. I don't know if that was the name of the sitcom or not, but it was an animation cartoon sitcom too. So, but let's get into this one. But before we do, if you all can do us a favor, go ahead, hit that like button. Boop, hit that like button. It's going to be good. The Simpsons. Hey, hit the like button, hit the notification bell, also share, and hit the subscribe button and comment below. But let's get into the Simpsons deal. Let's see. This is the moment the Simpsons became the best
unstoppable force in modern media. And for good reason. It is one of the most important and popular animated shows of all time. But with the show's quality shifting so much over the years, it's easy to wonder, what is it that makes the show so special? Or really, what it is when it's at its very best. With some shows, identifying what exactly that is can be extremely difficult, but The Simpsons, well, it's not. So I wanted to look at what it is that makes a perfect Simpsons episode, and I think there's one episode that typifies everything that works when it comes to the citizens of Springfield. One of the show's greatest episodes ever. Marge vs. the Monorail.
I think it's full, sir. That's ridiculous. The last tree held 9 drums.
Marge vs. the Monorail sits comfortably in the middle of Season 4, a season that creator Matt Groening and the writers have cited as the moment the show really started to hit its stride. As Adam Fruccio-Vulture pointed out, this particular episode was a turning point. Mr. Burns is caught storing nuclear waste across Springfield and fined $3 million by the city. Now, the citizens have to decide how to spend that money. And from there, things go dramatically off the rails. The Simpsons was conceived as an animated satire of that generation's family-friendly sitcoms. It was built to be relatively grounded, to take real life and animate it while amping up the characters, not necessarily the situations. But slowly the writers realized that maybe it's better to embrace the absurd and the freedom of animation. That's the first thing Marge vs. the Monorail nails. It is an exercise in animated liberty. Whether it was Bart using robot ants to destroy the school, Homer creating a fire pothole quickly filled with a popcorn truck, or the cowboy lassoing the finale, there is a lot of animated and visual creativity here. This was a show that was beginning to let itself open up. The plot of a World's Fair-esque salesman selling the people of Springfield a $3 million monorail with a giant kind of awesome musical number and Homer's role as a train's conductor make for some of the most imaginative moments in the early seasons. Mr. Burns could use a grappling hook to get out of City Hall. There could be a Mongolian VR headset. Every moment felt like skipping through fever dreams. And it managed to stretch that leash while still retaining the identity of The Simpsons, which is important. And while the most important part of that identity, the episode also nailed.
Homer, there's a man here who thinks he can help you.
Batman?
No, he's a scientist.
Batman's a scientist.
It's not Batman.
Marge vs. the Monorail is one of the most densely packed episodes of The Simpsons ever written, in that packing is made up of jokes. This is easily one of the funniest, most quotable episodes of The Simpsons ever created, and the quicker the gags, well, more often than not, the better the episode of The Simpsons you get. Marge vs. the Monorail is one of just 3 episodes written by Conan O'Brien, and this episode shows that that's kind of a shame. Sure, some of the episode's best jokes are less than nuanced, easy to digest humor, like that Batman gag, but that quote-unquote Homer humor is side by side with some of the show's best visual gags, like the popsicle stick skyscraper and the escalator to nowhere, which is also side by side with some of the more interesting jokes and a little bit harder hitting satire. Like this sequence where Chief Wiggums and the mayor argue over who has the power to solve the monorail disaster in front of them instead of, actually solving it. The bureaucracy actually taking them to the library where they both read the actual laws for the first time. Again, while the crisis is actually happening.
You are! Let go, that's the charter.
It is genuinely laugh out loud funny. But what's so impressive about this episode is that it not only manages to nail that trifecta of Simpsons humor with precision balance, Homer humor, visual gags, and satire or parody, but it manages to do so consistently throughout the episode while also telling a genuinely funny story to boot. Story of a monorail salesman of Springfield trying to decide, as one, what to do with $3 million, and the story of how exactly a monorail of all things can go so catastrophically wrong makes for a funny narrative for all of those gags to be stacked on top of. A humorous premise by itself. And that's something lesser shows and even lesser Simpsons episodes often miss. You either get a funny narrative or funny jokes. It's hard to do both. But what's also remarkable is really how it manages to still be a show about everyone.
May the force be with you.
Do you even know who I am?
I do. Weren't you one of the little rascals?
The Simpsons today is, like Family Guy, known for poking fun at, parodying anyone and everyone. Sometimes it does it well, and other times it simply comes off as a cheap tactic to get people to project their thoughts and attachment to these other properties and people onto The Simpsons itself. This episode opens with Homer crashing into a tree as he tries to create his own version of the Flintstones theme song. And from there, it's a series of references and jokes that actually lift the episode up, that land. Oftentimes, lesser shows think bringing things into their world or other people make their existence there funny. They forget that references themselves aren't inherently humorous. You can't simply say, hey, look, Star Wars, and get a laugh. It is funny to have Leonard Nimoy of Star Trek guest star on your episode and have Mayor Quimby say may the force be with you, all the while mistaking Nimoy for a character from the Little Rascals. It is funny to bring Mr. Burns, who's committed a relatively ridiculous crime, into the courtroom tied to a board like Hannibal Lecter. Even a small joke about 90210 lands here. It is really easy to shout the words, popular culture, from the mountains of national television. Marge vs. the Monorail manages to actually make you laugh without having to scream its parody's presence into your ear. Even Lyle Lanley, the monorail salesman, and his awesome opening song are a spoof of the 60s film The Music Man. And I can't stress this enough, that song is awesome. These are parodies with purpose, parodies with humor. And that's easier said than done. But I think the final thing that really separates Marge vs. the Monorail from other episodes of The Simpsons is something that I think is harder to accomplish on premise alone.
Like they do when they narrate. When they
you know what? I thought it was me.
Well, you should have written a song like that guy.
The Simpsons is so beloved in part because it has a genuinely great and mostly interesting cast of main characters, and I'm referring almost exclusively to the Simpsons themselves. Something a lot of the best episodes do is make sure they're all involved and are a meaningful part of the episode without anyone feeling forced into the narrative. That is a tough accomplishment when you're dealing with 5 dialogue-driven characters. Here, Marge plays the role of the skeptic, trying to steer Springfield into the direction of investing Burns' millions into revamping Main Street. She also discovers the underlying sales scheme that feeds the plot. Grandpa is the guy that inadvertently rallies the people of Springfield behind the Main Street idea. Lisa is the voice of the viewer, providing a dose of logic.
I'd like you to explain why we should build a mass transit system in a small town with a centralized population.
While also showing how easy it is for Lyle to win people over. Homer is the guy that both accidentally steers his way into disaster as he pilots a failing monorail into doom, but he's also the guy that manages to save the day in typical Homer fashion by latching a letter anchor to a donut. And Bart is the guy who helps Homer train for his conductor test, actually bonds with his father, and provides the emotional payoff moment when Homer looks at his son after they're bonding and decides not to use him as the anchor to stop the train. Seriously, as ridiculous as that sounds, that moment kind of hits. Marge vs. the Monorail uses all of the Simpsons in all their glory to service the story and the jokes, each of them individually. And that's a tough balance. It's hard for any show to bring 5 characters together and have them be functional and enjoyable to watch in a single episode. But here, not only is that accomplished, but it helps create a standout 22 minutes of television.
You know, a town with money's a little like the mule with a spinning wheel.
Marge vs. the Monorail may or may not be the best episode of The Simpsons. I think there's probably 5 or 6 others you could argue are just as good, if not maybe even better. But what this episode is a perfect Simpsons episode. It is everything that makes the show so great. It's everything that's given the show its longevity and its place in pop culture. It is immaculate. The Simpsons has changed since then. I wrote about that a couple months ago, but there isn't a day that goes by where I can't think of an episode worth recommending to someone. It may not be what it once was, but episodes like Marge vs. the Monorail still feel timeless. Even today, you don't need to be a rocket scientist to see what makes this show so special.
Batman's a scientist.
It's not Batman.
Wow.
Yeah, Simpsons. I don't really go out my way to watch it, but when I watch it, they're funny, man. I mean, when they first came out, they were kind of edgy, but then when you had like South Park come along and some of these other ones come on, Boondocks, they wasn't as edgy as you thought they were. So
I mean, because those were more raunchy, if that's a word to use. In like South Park.
Right.
Those are the ones that you told your children, turn that off.
Right.
It's not for you.
Right.
They were more of the adult.
Yeah, a lot
cartoons.
of the ones that like with South Park and Boondocks and even the Simpsons, it's a lot of stuff that's funny. Are the things that you think about, or some of the things people would say they want to say but they won't say, and so it's like they're doing all. That's what's catching me about with the Simpsons. A lot of times he'll do things that you think about, like with the weights. You gotta think about that. So it's kind of a little funny when you think about that happening, and then how his reaction to that. So, but
I mean, and what's the other one? Family
Guy. Family Guy is another one. No.
I mean, well, I guess it was Family Guy, but never mind what I was going to say.
Okay, but yeah, y'all let us know about about the Simpsons and the other animated cartoons and some of the funny things that you heard, or maybe some of the moments like in this one where that show was like, that's when it really stood out and jumped out and people understood and took notice. So, but until we come back again, please like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, also share and comment below. And I do believe that's it.
That is it. Thanks for listening to Sunshine and E.